This is Orbital Nonsense,
a podcast about space magic.
I'm Lily, a witch and an astrologer.
And I'm Veda. I'm just here to ask stupid questions.
I have a boing.
You do have a boing.
He's like, oh, we're doing this again. Okay.
We're doing a podcast.
Okay. Do you have anything to talk about, or do you just want to
So I don't really, except for I should turn my sound off of my phone.
Okay.
Do what it just did. And okay, that is done. So I think that we should mention, because normally you don't know at all what's going to happen.
Yeah, we should say that.
This time you technically do. You don't know very much about it. But I was basically unsure if this would be interesting to other people. And so I was like, hey, I want to do this with you either way. Would this be interesting for the podcast? So you do know, like, but you don't have like the birth information. You can't have like looked up the chart. I didn't tell you any of the placements, any of that stuff. So
no, I know what we're doing, but I know nothing about the actual chart we're gonna be discussing. So
okay, so we have gone backwards where we said what you don't know, and we've told nobody what we do know.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to tell the audience what we're doing?
Yes. Okay. So basically, and this is going to be really apparent from the get-go, I think, like why I was like, I don't know if anybody but me will care about this. I'm a writer. I'm sure that I've mentioned that before on this podcast. I'm working on a book. And basically, I realized there's a human in my book, and then there's a bunch of deities and blah, blah, blah. But it's mostly not about the human. But there is a human in it that's got like a solid storyline. And I know a lot about her, but I've never done as deep a dive into her. I have now done a very deep dive into her. So I know not only just like the normal things, like her full name and her birthday and like where she went to school and like what her major like life events are. I mean, I do know all of those and in like kind of an insane amount of detail, but I also know, like I basically know her mother and her aunt. I know who her father is. She doesn't know who her father is. I know who her mother thought her father was. Like, because there was like a couple options. I know who her grandparents were and why they got married and what happened with them. And I know about her great grandparents and basically what happened to them. And I have
that's a lot.
Oh yeah. And I have dates of birth and dates of death for most everybody. There's a couple people I don't have death dates for, but so we have done this before, both. So on the podcast, we did this a little bit on the podcast, but mostly we've just done it, you and I, where we've looked at fictional characters' birth charts, and it's always shocking, like how fitting it is.
Yeah.
But also we've done it a little bit for my character. So the two main goddesses that my book is about that are wives, because it's gay.
Surprise!
It's not shocking, I'm sure, to anybody. I have partial birth charts for them. And when you've read those were like shockingly made sense to what I already knew. So this is a really huge lead up to basically say that because I have birth information for human and I know so much about her life, I wanted to do a deep dive into her chart. I did pull it up and like look at the circle chart. And sometimes when I look at a chart, I see a bunch of things and I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure this means something along the lines of this, and like blah blah blah. And then other times I can look at a chart and I'm like, I've got fucking nothing. I don't know what, like nothing. And so with this one, there were two things, and you'll probably talk about it straight away, that I was like, oh, like that tracks. And everything else, I don't understand like what it means. So we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants because I think this will go really well, but it also could crash and burn because this is one of those like, we don't understand where story comes from as story channeling from, you know, like this is just like the esoteric, like who knows?
Yeah.
So come along. What do you want to say about all of that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I always love doing that. I love checking fictional characters' birth charts. There's a lot of positives to it. Like you don't really have any ethical issues of diving into a fictional character's life and just, you know, making assumptions, and like they can be wild as fuck because it's a fictional character. It can't hurt anyone. So that's a lot of fun. And I think this is great for the podcast because we can use this fictional character to showcase this is how, at least this is how I read a birth chart. Different astrologers will do it differently, I'm sure. But, you know, if you want to sort of learn how to go about that, like how to put all the pieces together, I'll sort of teach you in a very non-teaching way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, also really quick. Do you remember anything about this character? Like before I tell you her birth information and stuff, do you anything do you remember about her?
I remember, and if I put any spoilers in here now, we'll cut those out, but just so you know all the things I know.
Yeah.
I know that she is an archaeologist. She becomes a medium, or she learns how to be a medium, something or along those lines during the course of the book. I remember you telling me how she was very overwhelmed with that, like in the beginning of the journey of this character. Like she gets basically bombarded with lots of dead people, and it's just very...
she doesn't believe in it. She doesn't want to be...
She's a scientist.
She's a scientist.
Yeah. So it's like the two worlds are basically clashing, of like a very logical mind, very science focused, and then suddenly this woo-woo stuff comes in. And I do also know, or I think I know, that she lost her parents decently early, but that might also be wrong.
No, that's true.
I have like a vague memory of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other than that, I can't think of anything else that I know about her. So it's not a lot. Great. And I know her name. I know that her name is Sarah, but yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I found out that she was much older than I thought she was, which is really funny, because like when I got her birth information, I was like, oh, okay.
That's funny.
So the way that I get stuff feels exactly the same as when I'm like channeling or doing mediumship. Like, so I don't go, I sat down and like made up the story. I like discover. Like, whatever. So, okay. Are you ready for her birth information?
Yeah, hang on. I will.
Oh, she was also from a completely different part of America than I thought she was from.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So first of all, can you guess what I looked at and went, oh?
Several things, actually.
There was only a couple. There was not several things that I was
okay, so putting myself in your shoes, I would think that you probably noticed this right here. So she has Pluto and Uranus conjunct in her first house.
Yeah.
Yep.
That noticed.
Yeah, that jumps out at me too. Another thing is this sort of stellium in her sixth house. So a stellium is when there's 3 or more planets in the same house or the same sign. Astrologers fight about what actually is a stellium and whatnot. I would consider this. So I would also consider asteroids in that. So if you have a lot of asteroids in the same house, that's a stellium for me. And then another one is the moon up here right next to her MC.
Okay.
So those are the things that jump out at me, but okay. let's do it.
Only other thing that I looked at and was like, I think I know what that means. Is so it wasn't like, I mean, I noticed obviously that she had a bunch of planets in the sixth house, but it wasn't that because that's the sixth house. So that is like what I don't ever remember about. It was actually the aspect that Uranus Pluto has with Chiron.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I know how much like death she goes through, and I know like how her relationship with death like goes, that I was like, oh.
Yeah, and in general, if you look at the middle part here where we can see the aspects, there's a lot of red. So that is an indicator that there's like this is a person that has to go through a lot of tension, probably. That this is not, gonna be an easy life and or an easy personality. So okay, but let's be structured.
Okay.
Right? So we'll come back to all of these.
Yeah.
But the first thing I do when I look at a chart, obviously that is the first thing I do. I just look at it and see like what jumps out, what do I notice, and just, let it sit for a moment. Then I go into this little tabby tab here. For those of you who are only listening, we can now not see the chart itself anymore, but a lot of data about the chart. So obviously up here, it talks about the big 3. She has an Aquarius sun, a Taurus moon, and then Leo rising. It says a little bit about the moon phase that she was born under, but that's all. We're going to ignore all of that for now. The first thing I actually look at is the distribution of the planets. So at first, we're going to look at the qualities. So the qualities talk a little bit about motivation and the way we do things, right? Just in a very general matter. Yeah. Now, with Sarah, she has a shit ton of placements in fixed signs. And that basically means that she is probably a very stubborn person.
Okay.
When she starts things, she will finish them. She is not someone who, like other people, myself, start a bunch of different things all at once and then get lost and overwhelmed and quite frankly bored with having to finish them because there's another new shiny thing over here that's way more interesting. She is nothing like that, probably, because she has like over half of her chart, like 54, I can count, 54% of her chart is in fixed signs. So she is very stubborn. She is very like clingy too. If there's a thing that she becomes interested in, she will lean more towards maybe even obsession with that thing and just be like, I have to figure this out, which is probably part of why she chose archaeology as a job, because you have to be like that, right? You have to want to solve the mystery. And even if it's tedious and hard work, like you have to want to stick with that one thing.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that also means though that she has very little cardinal in her chart, and cardinal is the quality that makes you want to start things, that makes you get up off the couch and, you know, find the motivation to, yes, I'm going to start a new thing, I'm going to go on a new journey, she doesn't have a lot of that.
Okay.
So she probably needs a little bit of a push to actually, you know, maybe try something new. Maybe don't, you know, do the same things over and over in the exact same way. Why don't you try it a different way?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So, yeah, so that is the qualities. Next interesting thing is the elements. So, every sign has a quality and every sign has an element that it correlates with. She's pretty evenly distributed between earth and air. So she is again, earth is very stubborn, very grounded, very in the moment. When I am focused on this one thing, only this one thing matters. I don't care about any other stuff that is around me. And then air is very intellectual. So air is, you know, logic, learning, study. These people with a lot of air are very interested in learning new things. They are very curious. They want to solve the mystery. Again, this is apparently a theme that is going to come up quite a bit with this character. So yeah, she is a very grounded person, but also very curious about the world around her. She wants to constantly learn. And that is probably a thing that will help with the, you know, with the massive amount of fixed in her chart and the very little cardinal, because she's curious. So, okay, that's how you get her. That's how you get her to try something new and to come out of her shell and to, you know, do something different with the curiosity. Like that is how, that is what tickles her, right? Yeah. Okay. So that is the first little bit of information. Then we look at hemispheres, or I always look at hemispheres.
When you start like going through all of this, I'm like smiling and nodding and going, oh, okay. This stuff means nothing.
I will try to explain. Okay. So with the hemispheres, what we do is basically, so we have the little circle that is the birth chart. You can split that up in halves, right? You can split it up like this, and you have a lower half and an upper half.
Okay.
The lower half represents our inner world, our intuition, our subconscious, our secrets, these types of things, whereas the upper half of the chart represents the outer world. How do we interact with the world? How do we present? What do people know about us? What is very obvious about us? How do we, you know, how do we interact with the world?
Yeah.
And depending on, you know, how many planets you have in which half of the chart, that is where you feel more comfortable. Is a simple way to say that. And she definitely has more placements in her lower half. So she is definitely an introvert. She does not want to do team building exercises. She wants to be left the fuck alone to do her job and do her thing and do it on her own. She does rely on intuition probably quite a bit, whether or not that is conscious or not can be debated.
Yeah.
But yeah, introvert basically is the gist of that.
Okay. So far it tracks, right? Okay.
Okay, good. So we can also split the chart in half vertically. So we can have a left half and a right half. And it is similar to the one before, but so the left half of the chart is ours, everything that is ours, that is very personal, not just internal though, where like the upper and lower. The lower half is all very internal.
Right.
The left hemisphere is the things you own too, and the things that you know, material things that are important to you, and the things that people do know about you. They don't have to be secret, but that are very personal to you.
Okay.
Whereas the right half is the world. How does the world affect you? How, like, this is the energy, basically the energy you receive, whereas the left half is the energy you give out.
Okay.
Make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Smile and nod.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. This when you do this stuff, it's less of like, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm just waiting for you to come to the other part because it makes more sense to me. But like, I mean,
yeah. we're almost done.
Okay.
So she has.
I wasn't trying to get you to stop. I'm just.
No, I know. So, yeah, she has more planets on the right half.
Okay.
Of the chart. So that means that she is very influenced by the outer world. She definitely, it is important to her what other people think, how other people feel. The world matters to her. And she has a very extrinsic motivation too. So we come back to the heavy fixed signs. She's probably not going to find intrinsic motivation to change her ways.
Right.
If she would change her ways, that would be extrinsically motivated. So someone from the outside would have to come in and influence her to, you know, do some things differently or to discover new things or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we can do basically the same things, but with quadrants. So we split the chart up in quarters, basically like a pizza. And we get a little bit more detail to all the things we've said before. So most of her planets are in the second quadrant. This is the one down here. But it's subconscious, intuitive, introverted, but affected by relationships, affected by the outside world, motivated extrinsically. And there's a lot of care too about the other world, about, you know, other people, how they feel, taking care of them, making sure that people around her are doing okay. Probably more so than am I okay? That is less important. It is more important to make sure, or what do other people need? Because what I need tends to be overwhelming. Because like I might not even know for sure what it is that I need. It is easier to figure out what other people need and to take care of them.
Okay.
So, any commentary on this so far?
So far, the only thing that I'm like, not sure about that is just the very last one.
Okay.
So, which isn't even to be like, I don't think she's like that, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know that she's like that.
Yeah.
So, but okay, let's.
Valid. Okay, so next we do look at the so-called big three. So the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. Her sun is here in her 6th house in Aquarius. So Aquarius sun people are, again, very oriented towards community, towards helping other people. Fairness is a big thing that is important for them in general, humanitarian efforts. But they do this in a very, because Aquarius is an air sign, they do this in a very intellectual way. So it's they're not very emotional about it.
Okay.
They are more like, it's an intellectual thing of, hey, people get treated unfairly. That is not logical. We should change that.
Sure. Okay.
That type of energy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It is interesting that her sun is in a square with her Neptune down here. Neptune is in her third house in Scorpio.
Okay.
So like, she is very spiritual. There's this spark of like, she definitely has abilities, but it's so far down here. It's like right next to her IC. It's like very deep.
Yeah.
And like, she probably has to discover that and like dig it out, because she's not aware of that, because that is a square. So the sun is not shining a light on this, right? So it's kind of hidden in the dark. So that's a interesting little tidbit. Also, this square to Jupiter, she does not have a big ego, is what this gives me. Like, she is not like if this was a trine, if your sun is trine Jupiter, then, you know, Jupiter expands things and it makes things bigger. You probably have a big ego, which, no judgment, doesn't have to be a bad thing. But like, it sounds mean when I say that. I don't mean it in a mean way. It just means, you know, it is what it is. She's not like that, though. She tends more towards probably even overlooking herself. Yeah, that is what that gives me. And then also the sun is part of this, what I would consider a stellium in her sixth house. So the sixth house is the house of everyday work and routine and boring things, basically. The boring aspects of life, also the physical body and health and stuff. So I'll talk more about the entire stellium later, but with the sun in there, like, this, especially with the like more harsh aspects that the sun has, could hint towards maybe some physical illnesses, especially when, you know, transits come into play. It could also go the other way, though, and she could be a very physical person and a very active and like sportsy kind of person.
When are you wanting me to tell you, like,
basically when I'm done with the sun, you can I'll let you validate or not if any of this
it's more of a question, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and also this is basically the last little tidbit here. The sun being right below her DC, and that's basically the horizon line. So it's like right after sundown.
Yeah.
It's like it gives this vibe of things are always right there under the surface, and like that can be ego, actually, like where she's just like, I'm angry, but like, and you can tell, but like only barely, because it's always right underneath the surface, right? I'm not showing it. I'm not entirely like, my personality isn't like hidden deep inside, like, but I'm also not an open book. It's like, it's always right under the surface, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. I do know that she often removes herself from the situation if she's angry.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, I mean, that's literally what she's doing in the opening, like when you first see her.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Yeah.
Angry walk because she doesn't want to be where she is.
Yeah.
Arguing with people. So my kind of question is, one of the things that I know about her that's like a big deal for her is her health, because she has like a really strong family history of breast cancer. And so she has a surgery to basically stop that before it starts. So basically she has a double mastectomy so she doesn't ever have to deal with it. So is that part of that sun situation?
It could be, but what I find particularly interesting, two things. So part of that stellium in her 6th house is Black Moon Lilith. And that is the only one that is retrograde.
Oh, okay.
And Black Moon Lilith is the dark feminine. So it represents trauma that is specifically due to being female, basically.
Sure.
So that it can be sexual violence, it can be discrimination, things like that. All the things that would then later in life trigger female rage, which is also represented by Black Moon Lilith. That is interesting. The second thing that is interesting is so every body part is represented by a sign, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And the breasts specifically are represented by Cancer.
Okay.
And
have anything in there.
Cancer is she also doesn't have anything in Libra. But yeah, so those are the only two signs that are empty in her chart is Cancer and Libra. So that could be a way that would, present in a life that, I will get rid of those. So
yeah.
So breast cancer cannot happen. Right?
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But also, like, she has a lot of stuff going on in her 6th house with that stellium. So this will be mentioned a lot. So it does not surprise me that that is a big theme in her life and for her personality, probably.
Yeah.
Even that she has that history and that she is probably focused a lot on health and on making sure that she is healthy and she stays healthy.
Yeah. I mean, she is a very physical person as well.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So see, so I was right on both accounts. She is both. So that is funny.
She is both.
Okay. So the second of the big three is the moon. It is up here in her 10th house, very close to her MC. It is right on the very end of Taurus. So Taurus adds more stubbornness to her personality. Taurus is a very stubborn. So she probably has quite a few issues with that in her life too, where she's like, oh, I've gone too far, or like, where her stubbornness stops her from achieving things or doing the things that she wants to do or that would be good for her. So this is an incredibly stubborn person, but also a very sensual person. Tauruses are all about the senses. Tauruses are ruled by Venus. They love everything that is beautiful and sometimes expensive and just involves all the senses. So food, things that smell nice, things that look pretty, people that are pretty,
sure,
things that feel nice, clothes, fashion, not necessarily in the sense like I have to go with the fashion, but like clothes have to feel good or I don't want to wear them. That is Taurus energy. If I don't feel comfortable and pretty in it, I don't want it.
Right.
Basically.
Okay.
And again, Neptune comes in because Neptune is in opposition with her moon. So again, we have the spiritual part of her that is so hidden and like both in the intellectual sense, but also in the emotional sense. She probably uses a lot of intuition. because that is literally her roots. Neptune is down there in her roots, but she's not aware of it.
Yeah.
And like it's so deeply hidden, even from herself.
Yeah.
That is very funny. And then we have a trine to Mars in her second house.
Okay.
Mars is retrograde, so again we have the theme of anger that is definitely there, and she is very stubborn and she is very passionate, but she internalizes it. She's not the person who will get angry and then throw things or yell or punch people.
Yeah.
She's internally incredibly angry, but from the outside, you can barely tell.
That is probably the most true thing about it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But also, because Mars is in her second house, that is, in part at least, a kind of resource. She draws a lot of energy from that. Her anger motivates her to do things and to change things.
Yeah.
So that is like one of the big motivators for her. If that shit makes me angry, it needs to change. And who else is going to change it if not me?
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have a trine with Venus, so even more of the sensual energy. Venus is in Aquarius in her sixth house. She is part of that sixth house stellium. So Venus in Aquarius also, by the way, gives polyamorous energy.
Okay.
So it would not surprise me if she was a little bit of a like relationship anarchist or polyamorous or anything in that regard, like being capable of loving more than one person, basically.
Okay.
Romantically. Yeah, and again, we have the subject of breast cancer because Venus obviously also represents women and female issues. Talking about the sex now, not the gender. Yeah. So so yeah, that again, that is definitely in there. Also in here with Pallas, the moon also has a trine with Pallas over in the fifth house. Pallas represents smarts, specifically about warfare. Pretty much. So Pallas Athena is a goddess of wisdom, but also a goddess of war.
Okay.
So again, we have a little bit of the female rage in there too.
Yeah.
She is, and because it's the fifth house, I mean, that's first of all, that's gay. Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure. Yeah. But yeah, that does not surprise me. That is a pretty gay placement. Yeah. It's in Capricorn too, so she probably has a lot of business smarts too. And like she
does, yeah.
She would do well like opening her own business or being involved in like some kind of business leadership. She would be good at that, and she's also probably interested in that because it's the fifth house. That's probably fun for her. She loves figuring out how things work, basically.
Right. So she is very much an academic, right? So she doesn't really like kind of do anything, or she doesn't do much business-wise outside of that.
Sure.
However, I do know that she is really savvy with her money. And so like she ends up with a lump sum of money at one point, and she just manages it well. And makes it like continue to work for her. So
yeah, that's
probably that.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. And specifically that is fun for her is like what is.
I don't know if it is in the situation that I'm talking about, but that's for other reasons.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. Obviously it depends on the specific situations, but just in general.
Sure.
She's not someone who will want to like go out and do a lot of stupid shopping for like because she's frustrated, so I need to spend a lot of money. She probably does not do that.
No, she doesn't do that. Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's moon stuff. Also, obviously, because the moon is right next to her MC, that is like dealing with emotional things and possibly even like ancestral trauma in the line of the mother is a big purpose of her life, right? That is the thing we're growing towards, is the MC up there. So that can be healing ancestral trauma, like anything like that, anything to do with the mother line, the matriarchal line, basically.
It's because of her matriarchal line that I know all the way back to her great grandparents.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I went back to like the 1890s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
that tracks then.
Yeah. I'm really curious about her rising, which I'm sure is what you're about to talk about.
Yep.
Because she is a Leo rising, but like at the very end, and like the vast majority of her first house is in Virgo. And I'm just curious about what I looked at that and I was like, I should understand this. And I don't.
It is very interesting because yes, her ascendant, and this is where it matters what house system you use, right? Because if I used whole sign houses, this Leo, the entirety of Leo, would be her first house and not her 12th.
Yeah.
Right. So and it changes a lot.
Significantly. Yeah.
Right. So so yes, her ascendant is in Leo. It's right at the end. That's 28 degrees, I think. So like literally 2 degrees from switching over. So yes, she has a little bit of a Leo vibe. She possibly has great hair.
She does have great hair.
Silly things.
That's so funny. She does have great hair.
Okay, so Leos in general are known for having great hair. And specifically like a lot of hair or like big hair or like.
So let me tell you about her hair. So like, I mean, she's got a big, like her sides shaved or whatever. But her hair is naturally very curly and it is very red. Like it's very like naturally deep red. So that's super funny because, and I totally haven't even, right. Okay.
So that is funny. That is the little bit of Leo that her ascendant is in. She probably doesn't have a lot of the, I mean, we all have all the characteristics of all the signs because all the signs are in our chart. But like,
she doesn't have a lot of the Leo characters. That's why I looked at that and went, I understand this, and I don't. Like Virgo makes sense to me for her, but I couldn't make Leo make sense for her.
So it's there, but because it's only just the ascendant, and actually the majority of Leo is her 12th house, and the 12th house is all the things that are taboo or hidden. Sometimes even from ourselves. Those are the aspects that are the least obvious about our personality, right? So she might have a tendency to want to lead or to want to be the center of attention, maybe when she's drunk, right? Or like, that part of the personality comes out when, we are inhibited.
Sure.
So, but yes, most of her first house is in Virgo, and that is a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
From Leo. So Virgo first houses are very well organized, always on time. They like making they love data. They love maths. They love logic. Um Also quite stubborn, not as much as a Taurus, but Virgos are too, or can be.
Yeah. I would say she's stubborn.
Yeah.
And she's like a scientific academic. So
yeah, so she loves and she loves that part of her job, right? So as an archaeologist, obviously it's also a very physical job. You have to be on your hands and knees and do brushing and digging and shit like that. But you also have to analyze the data and put the data into a computer and probably draw up charts and stuff, whatever. I don't know. I'm not an archaeologist, but
sure.
I'm sure there is a lot of data involved in there, and she thrives there. And specifically people know that too, because the first house is the parts of ourselves that are very obvious that we carry out into the world. This is how I want people to see me. This is how I present on purpose to the outside world, right?
Yeah.
So she wants to be seen as this person that is very organized and that is never late and that is, very smart and very logical in pretty much everything she does, which is probably part of the reason why there's so much conflict when, the mediumship comes in, because Virgos are skeptics.
Yeah.
If I can't touch it, it doesn't exist, basically.
Well, there's definitely that, but also I know that one of her main trauma responses is if something bad happens, I'm going to go bury myself in work. That's what I'm going to do. So,
oh yeah, Virgos are one of the workaholic signs. So that does make sense. It can be an escape. So with all of these things, there's always a light side and a dark side. Being very organized can be great and can be useful. Yeah. But you can also use that as an escape to, not face the thing you need to face, to get away from your emotions, to not process trauma or whatever. Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
She literally has her double mastectomy at the second half of August. And then against medical advice, she goes back to school. I think she's still working on her bachelor's at that point, but she goes back to school in September before she's she's healed enough that she's out of hospital and stuff like that. But there's 4 to 6 weeks before you're
that's on the other side of it.
Yeah, also it's in the middle of the 80s. It's 1985 or something like that. So
yeah.
And she just, to her own detriment, just goes back to school.
That fits in well with this thing. So we've briefly mentioned her Pluto and her Uranus are in her first house. Yeah. And they're both retrograde. They are conjunct. So Uranus is the big rebel. I always like to use science to paint a picture because I like science. So Uranus, the actual planet, is the only planet in our solar system that spins the wrong way around. Yeah. So where all the other planets spin around a somewhat vertical axis, Uranus spins around an axis that is almost horizontal. So that is what Uranus is. I do things differently. I don't care how you do it. I don't give a shit how it has been done always. I will do it my way. And preferably my way will be different from the way everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Also, technology is governed by Uranus. Uranus loves gadgets, basically.
Okay.
But yeah, so that tracks that she would go in and she would go in the middle of the 80s, go like, yeah, no, I'm gonna have a double mastectomy because I don't want to get breast cancer. Basically, that is already,
yeah, there's much more trauma involved in that story, but like,
I'm sure. And then, also against medical advice, going back to work or back to study. Yeah, all of that is very Uranus, and it's so in your face because it's in the first house. Like everyone probably knows that story about her, and everyone kind of rolls their eyes and goes like, "Oh yeah, that's Sarah for you." Basically, that is what she does.
Yeah.
And also with Pluto there, like there's a again, there's the light side and the dark side. So death is very present in her life and in her personality, both in the sense that, she has lost people have died, but also like in the sense that I could get this, I could die at a young age. So you live life differently when you know that, right? When death is so very present in your life and you just are constantly aware that it could end at any second, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a vibe. It is all very, again, internalized though, because both of these planets are retrograde.
Yeah.
So this is personal, and this is to do with me and my personality. This is not something that, like, I'm not going to make other people live their lives to the fullest because I know that death can happen every second. This is a me issue.
Yeah. Can I tell you a little bit about the death in her life?
Yeah, sure.
So, so she never meets her grandmother because her grandmother dies when her mother and her aunt are very young.
Mm-hmm.
Which changes the trajectory of their life. And then her great grandmother, which she wouldn't have met anyways, also died very young.
Mm-hmm.
Then her mother dies when she is 10 years old. Her mother gets sick when she's 8, dies when she's 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then she moves in with her aunt, who also dies of breast cancer. And doesn't tell her until, doesn't tell her when she gets diagnosed until basically like right at the end.
Oh no.
So she that aunt is also an academic scientist, a different kind. She's works with insects, but very, very STEM, right? And so she basically like doesn't tell her until like that school year ends. And then she's like, by the way, I'm literally dying. And so like she comes back and the aunt has like packed up all the house, gotten it ready for sale, has all of like the, inheritance, like this is like hired a realtor to like taking care of everything. And then also like gotten doctors to be like, you will give my niece a double mastectomy and you will take her seriously when she comes to you, and like blah blah blah. And because she's like in the sciences, like she knows who to talk to, blah blah blah, like all of this stuff. And so by the time Sarah goes back to New Orleans to take care of her aunt, who was also the woman who basically raised her, he dies 3 weeks later.
Oh fuck.
And then she's like, okay, well, I'm getting that double mastectomy like within weeks of that, right? So it's just like, so that's the kind of like death stuff that we're talking. That's why I looked at that and went, oh,
yeah. So. And like, so if we're gonna dive deep into Pluto because it is obviously such an important part of her chart.
Yeah.
So there are so many things here. So the first thing is Pluto is in a trine with Jupiter. Jupiter is up in her 9th house. Jupiter expands things and makes things bigger. So that is, there's not one death. There is not 2 deaths. There is several deaths and like early in her life, and important ones, like not just, a neighbor or whatever, but like important close family members.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Pluto trine Jupiter. Yeah. And then this opposition that we've mentioned before to Chiron in her 7th house. And this must be Lilith. Yeah. So Lilith and Chiron are conjunct in her 7th house. That again speaks to like trauma specifically related to being female.
Yeah.
And also the asteroid Lilith is to do with early childhood and early teens, maybe early adulthood, right? So when you're very young, like the beginning of your life, maybe like the first 20 or 25 years of your life.
Yeah. Well, Anne and Aunt are both dead by the time she's 20.
Yeah. So. See. So, and that affects how she does relationship for the rest of her life because Chiron is in her 7th house and it's in fucking Pisces.
Oh yeah. She's a mess. She's a mess.
Like, yeah, she is a mess. She is traumatized deeply. She probably has a lot of abandonment issues. She will have a very hard time. Like, she needs to do a lot of work of healing all of that trauma before she can even think about having a healthy relationship. Although part of her healing is that, because Chiron is not just trauma, Chiron is also the healer. How do we heal trauma, both in ourselves and in other people?
Yeah.
So she has this great capability of being very healing to others. Yeah. Because she has all of these experiences. She has a lot of empathy, probably. And, you know, being in relationships is how she heals, but is also where she needs to do the most healing. Is the irony of Chiron, basically.
Yeah.
And all of that in Pisces. I always feel like, so I could be wrong here, so correct me if I am. Feel free to leave a comment. But I think that we don't know yet where Chiron is exalted. Basically, if a planet is exalted in a sign, that means that this planet loves to be in this sign and it like has the most abilities to shine really bright and to have all of its most positive aspects come to fruition, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't know that yet about Chiron because he's basically still very new, you know?
Yeah.
Considering. Again, if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But I feel like, and that is just me, my personal opinion, that Chiron is exalted in Pisces.
Okay.
So he loves being in there, which, you know, again, light and dark means that you have trauma and your trauma fucked you up extra bad because it is in Pisces.
Yeah.
It also means you have the most abilities to heal from it and to become a healer, though.
Yeah.
So,
definitely goes on a healing journey.
Yeah. And then the next big important thing is that Pluto squares both of the nodes, and the nodes are in the 4th house and the 10th house.
What's that mean?
The 4th house is the house of the mother.
Okay. Okay.
And that is where her south node is in. And the south node is all the past life stuff, all the stuff that we do not bring into this life, that we leave behind. That is definitely ancestral trauma, you know. And then the north node is the opposite, and that is in her 10th house. That is the stuff, okay, this is my job in this life. And both of them are squaring Pluto. So this theme of like death and rebirth and renewal and tearing things down to build new things on top of them and all of these things, all of these subjects are very, very, very connected to ancestral lines and to
Why I
ancestral
ended up digging back till the
trauma.
late
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like that is literally the theme of her life is to you brought a bunch of ancestral trauma, leave it behind, grow from it.
Yeah.
That is the big theme in this person's life. There's a sextile to Neptune. Again, Neptune is very busy in this chart. Neptune is in Scorpio too, which gives it a little bit of a dark twist. So part of why I feel like, and this is intuition actually, part of why she has these abilities that she clearly has when it comes to spiritual and woo-woo things buried so deeply, I feel like is because she is scared that either they become dark and dangerous or because she is scared that, you know, she's making it up and she's lying to herself, or there's like illusion in there because Neptune is like, yes, spirituality and the light parts of that and dream work and woo woo and blah blah, but also it's illusions and lies and, you know, deceit and stuff. And that feels very much like that is a fear she has, possibly both, like that it turns dark and dangerous and it gets scary. And also, am I making shit up? Am I just lying? Am I a liar?
So tell me if this fits, because one of the things that I know about her is, so also you have read my first chapter.
Yes.
I don't think you've read like more than that, but you have read my first chapter.
Yeah.
So, and I think it already kind of, not her, but somebody else is talking about this, that she blocks out everything that would be from a spiritual place, right? Like she just does not even allow it into her sphere. And then one of the reasons that I think she does that is because she's got all of these deaths, and it's just like death, abandonment, death, abandonment, death, abandonment, right? It's too emotionally charged for her to like know how to even deal with it. So she just blocks it out so that she doesn't, you know, and she basically does that until she's forced to not do that.
Yeah. That is very Neptune and Scorpio energy, because Scorpio is a water sign. Scorpios are very, very emotional, but they are also the one water sign that, you know, not only has a thick shell, so, you know, they can hide that soft part of themselves. They also have a fucking stinger.
Yeah.
So like
they're like the fire sign of water signs.
Yes, exactly. So like they are fierce in all the emotions, right? So they are fiercely protective. They get very fierce when it comes to anger and revenge and things like that. Sadness often turns into anger for a Scorpio, like where a Cancer, you know, which is a crab and also has a soft core and a hard shell, but Cancers don't have stingers. So Cancers will cry. and Pisces, we don't even have a fucking hard shell. We are just fishes. We are literally
just goo.
Just all floppy and soft. And we cry at the stupidest shit.
Sure.
When a Scorpio gets sad, a Scorpio gets angry. Sure. And they will sting.
That absolutely tracks for her, yeah. Sure.
So yes, she is fiercely protective of that inner core, to the point where she's not even aware of it herself.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
So, yep, all of that tracks. And it's very heavy. Okay, so I want to look at the stellium next, because that is, to me, like the next big important thing in her chart.
Okay.
So we're looking at the sixth house. The entire sixth house is in Aquarius. And we have the Sun, Ceres, Black Moon Lilith, Mercury, and Venus, all in the sixth house in Aquarius. So we've already talked about the Sun. We've covered that. Ceres is the way we nurture and are nurtured. So it is in part also, the whole mother theme and the motherhood theme. So
yeah,
how am I mothered and how do I mother?
yeah,
it is also a little bit to do with like a clinginess and toxicity in these types of relationships, because
okay,
Ceres is Demeter. I have talked about the story of Demeter before. It is also very popular. So Demeter lost her daughter Persephone, and she was a very clingy mother. And, some people could say she was emotional abusive. Some people could say she was just very fiercely protective. So again, we have the light and the dark. It can be both.
So would this then placement nod to her having an abusive mother?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No. It can also be the light part, right? It can also mean that her mother was fiercely protective of her. And because she's also like conjunct her son, like that, the mother was a very important figure in her life.
Right. So her mother was not nice. I mean, her mother didn't like physically or sexually abuse her or anything, but she was, so her mother, because of her own trauma, was also kind of a wild child, free spirit that was mad about her own trauma to the detriment of her daughter.
That's Aquarius, just popping that in her. That is Ceres in Aquarius. Yep.
Her mother was also kind of homophobic. So, like, in the brief time that she was alive, she did kind of impart this whole, like, you did this thing in childhood that makes me think that you're gay, and that is bad. But mostly she's just like neglectful.
Yeah.
Because she's like so selfish.
Yeah.
But also her aunt is better, although also flawed. And a mother figure as well. So I don't know, just curious.
Yeah. That does make sense. So that would be the dark side of Ceres, right?
Okay.
And it also makes sense with the next one because Ceres is also conjunct Black Moon Lilith.
Right.
And Black Moon Lilith is basically, so if we work with the 3 Lilith placements, we've talked about the asteroid Lilith that basically represents, the first 20, 25 years maybe of your life.
Yeah.
After that comes Black Moon Lilith. So Black Moon Lilith is the one that is to do with the adult female, the one that has or is growing past the childhood trauma, the discrimination, the violence, all of these things that we experience because we are born female.
Yeah.
She is female rage. She is becoming empowered through that. She is the dark feminine. And her being, first of all, retrograde. So all of this is very internalized. And then also conjunct Ceres. That is like, yes, there was a powerful woman that has probably traumatized me in a way.
Yeah.
But also that kind of trauma is where I draw my power from. Like I do things out of spite now.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mercury is the next one. In there, Mercury is communication and thinking, basically. So all the things to do with the mind, study. So yes, we've covered that. She is a very smart person, a very logical person, right? This is a big part of her personality. This is probably also how she deals with that trauma, like both of the somewhat abusive mother. There might be some other kind of trauma in her early years too, related to being a woman or being born female, she deals with all of that, and obviously like the cancer trauma. She deals with all of that in a very intellectualized manner.
Oh yeah.
So she's not someone who will, you know, cry and write poetry and be very, you know, emotional about things. She will analyze and be like, okay, so these are the statistics about breast cancer. This is the mathematical likelihood of me getting breast cancer. So I will go and have a double mastectomy so I don't get breast cancer. And like, and probably interested in psychology and like the logical way of like, what did this trauma do to me? And like, oh, okay, so this is how it affected me. So I know this intellectually, and this is how I should deal with it intellectually. Like, so she's very good at that part, but probably not very good at the actual emotional part of it. Like at actually, you know, feeling the feelings and like just fucking crying about it. And like, you know,
no, she drinks about it.
Yeah.
Is what she does.
That tracks.
She drinks at work about it.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
That's a good way to deal with your trauma. That was sarcasm, in case that wasn't clear. So and then the last one is Venus, and again we have like the female issues pulled in there. All of that is obviously very much to do with both physically being female and also emotionally being female. Venus also has a trine to that Mars that we've mentioned before in her second house.
Okay.
So again, when she feels her feelings, it's anger.
Yeah. True.
So she's not, or like, yes, obviously she has other feelings too, but they quickly turn into anger and frustration. And
she's kind of pissed with anger.
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, like sadness becomes anger, becomes aggression, becomes fire, when it should be water, you know? And she does that with all of the emotions. Like she gets very heated, very fiery, very easily. But because Mars is retrograde, it doesn't turn into outward aggression. It doesn't turn into, you know, I'm going to hurt anyone else. I'm going to hurt myself. And Venus also has this trine to the moon. So again, we have the subject of like the mother and the ancestral trauma and all of that stuff. That is the stuff that we're supposed to, you know, grow towards and to heal and to deal with. So she definitely has the capabilities, the possibilities.
Sure.
It's there. It's not entirely, you know, out of reach. But it's going to be work. It's going to be hard work for her to actually deal with that and to heal from all of that. So that does not sound fun at all.
No, it's not fun.
That is okay. One more thing I'm gonna mention and look at is Saturn.
Okay.
Because it's so nicely placed in her 7th house too, where we've also talked about, you know, Chiron and the asteroid Lilith. Saturn is also in the 7th house, and again putting like all of these like trials and tribulations when it comes to close personal relationships. So basically Saturn looked at Pluto, went like, what's she doing over there? That looks good. I'm just going to add to that. Let's do a little more of that. just to have fun with it, basically. And Sarah's sitting there going like, great, thanks. Because I needed more of that, obviously. Like there wasn't enough of that. And Saturn also being in Pisces. So yes, she's an extra mess.
She's a huge mess.
Basically.
Is this also her absent father?
Yes, Saturn is also the father in the chart. So not everyone who has Saturn in a weird or unfortunate placement will have an absent father. Sure. But yes, there's definitely emotional something to do with the father, because Saturn is in Pisces, and Pisces is a very... I am a Pisces sun. I know what I'm talking about. Right. We are. Pisces is deeply emotional. And literally the only aspect Saturn has, go away, is sorry, I was talking to technology, not to you. So the only aspect Saturn has is the opposition to Uranus in the first house. So yes, that can definitely present as a father that is absent, or a father that could be very selfish, or that could be very unusual in any kind of way. It doesn't have to be in a negative way. It could also, be very positive. A father that, maybe rebels against toxic masculinity or something like that, right? That would be the light side.
Sure.
Of that. So, but yeah, it makes sense that her father is absent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is an overview. Obviously, there's always more in a birth chart.
Sure.
That we could talk about and stuff, but
I think it's so interesting how that all fit. Because I don't think there was anything that was just like, no, that's not that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. So, okay.
That will just never cease to amaze me.
Do you have anything that I didn't see where you're like, oh, I thought this would be in a chart and it wasn't, or I didn't say anything about it?
No, not really. I mean, so because I have, not for the podcast, but just in general, because I have so many birth charts for whatever, I would like you and me to go through like a bunch of stuff with like our ancestors and like whatever. And then there's like deity stuff that I want to do, but like that would be too much for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I do know how and when she dies.
Okay.
So like, it is not. So here's another thing. Like a lot of this is not going to end up, like a lot of it is going to end up in the book, but a lot of it is that I know is not going to end up in the book. It's just stuff that I know.
Yeah, it's just about backstory.
So like by the time she dies, it's way after like the book ends or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you wanted to like talk about that or look for that or see.
Well, we can. I mean, so with these types of more predictive things, it's always like, yes, I can look it up really quick and also like rely just on intuition to be like, I think it could be this. But if I were to do it properly, also it would take way too much.
A normal person. This is because it's a fictional character.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm
just curious. Like what you can see with it.
Let me actually put a tropos in her chart. That is basically the fate of death. So a tropos is in her 10th house.
Okay.
And because we've talked so much about like the 4th house, 10th house axis and stuff, I kind of want to say that it might be, related to all of that ancestral trauma. It might actually be Cancer that, fate is like, haha, joke's on you. I'm going to give you Cancer. Anyway, that would be really mean, but it would not surprise me.
Okay.
Also, because not just that, it is also in several trines with basically all of the planets that are in that 6th house stellium.
Yeah.
That are also to do with, the trauma and the cancer and all of that stuff.
Okay.
So if I were to really quickly, just from that, make a prediction, I would say that she probably dies of cancer.
She does not.
Okay.
So I would say this is the one time where she gets like whatever the light side of this placement is.
Okay. Yeah.
Because she dies at 70 years old, so older than any of the women in her family.
Okay.
As far back as I have looked. She far after them.
Okay.
And she dies doing something really physical. She dies in an accident. She dies in a rock climbing accident. So she's like still out physically rock climbing at fucking 70 years old.
Wow, badass.
And yeah. And I found out that like she is no longer in a romantic relationship with this woman, but she's still close friends with the girlfriend that she has in the book.
That's sweet.
Right. And so like they are out rock climbing together.
Oh wow.
And she has like she has sudden muscle weakness that makes her slip, and then the anchor blows and she falls and dies on impact. So it's like really fast, very physical, but also like doing something that she enjoys at an old age. Like,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah. So,
I mean, yes, that is in part the light side of Atropos, because Atropos has trines, and trines are beneficial.
Yeah.
Or like more flowy, nicer aspects. So that would be the light side, how that can present. I also think it's funny that Atropos is almost on the highest point of her chart, and she dies
by a fall
climbing.
Yeah.
That is another one where it's like, oh, it's so on the nose and it's so literal.
Yeah.
Like really. I would assume that probably Mars is involved with like transits somewhere.
I also know the date and time of her death.
Let's look at the transits for
it has not happened yet in our
Okay, when does it happen?
So it's June 19th of 2035.
There you are. Okay. Troop. Mars is literally squaring her natal Atropos, so I was right.
Mars is like, let me just push you off this cliff real quick.
Yeah. Mars is also like in her 7th house of relationships, so it's funny that, just a funny tidbit, that like that old relationship, that old romantic relationship is also kind of involved in that.
Yeah.
Where is transiting Atropos? Is that you? You're being stupid. Oh, that is that is okay. So it is also like very shortly after her Atropos return. Right. That is not a thing, but
Yeah, sure.
And she has like all of these planets like sitting in her 10th house. So yeah, that is basically a good time to leave this earth when you have like Sun, Atropos, Venus, Chiron, Mercury, Ceres, which is all or almost all of the planets that natally she has in that stellium in her 6th house are now sitting on top of.
Oh, who's missing?
What?
You said almost. Who's missing from that?
Oh, hang on. Black Moon. Lilith is missing. Where is she? Oh, she's transiting down here in her 4th house, though. So again, it's the 4th house, 10th house.
Right.
Coming into play. So yeah. I mean, again, if I were to actually predict someone's death, it would be way more complicated.
Yeah.
But knowing the date and time and like knowing how she dies, this definitely makes sense and is even kind of ironic and funny in a way, which, to be fair, deaths often are when we are,
Yeah. I mean, in a way, this is kind of like one of her nicest placements because it's like not what she spends all of her time worried about. And it's not what everybody else went through. And it's so fast. And it's like, you know, like it's a good death, I think.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I feel like every time we do this, and kind of even more so when it's a character that like I'm working with, right? Even more so, I'm kind of like, this is such a argument for fictional characters like existing somewhere in the multiverse, right? Because like how else would this all, like, astrology is so complicated. You know, and like these are all really specific and like if we had pulled this up and you were like, oh, she's got tons of water and you know, she's I don't know, like just not with all the Virgo, but like, you know, if you were just like, she's just an airy fairy, watery, like traveler that like whatever, like it wouldn't have fit at all. And I know that like critics and stuff are like, well, you can just make anything fit anything, but it's not true. You can't. You either are an academic obsessed with you know what I mean, or you're not. Like you either have like a bunch of dead female mother figures in your life, or you do not. So I think it's really fascinating.
I agree. And every single reading I give convinces me all over again.
Oh, wait until you and I spend like a frankly stupid amount of time like going through all of the, you know, all of the family histories that I have, because that is coming and that is, I think, gonna be really wild.
But I have it every single time where I'm like, before I give a reading, I'm like, I wonder if this time something will happen that's like, oh, nothing fits and this is all wrong. And it has never happened. Like, and not a single time. Since I've started doing this, like what, 6 years ago, like every single time it's always everything fits.
And we've looked up some wild stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we've looked up stuff based on fan fiction.
Yes. We have.
Right. So, that kind of nerd, but right. So interesting.
Yeah, this was fascinating.
Well, another, like, I promise I won't like go into the whole thing, but like one of the things that I was like, this is really wild that I noticed, like, so as I was going through getting everybody's like birth information and like whatever, another thing that really surprised me is almost everybody else in her line, both mothers and fathers, like male and female line, were born in the AM. And I think the only other one that was, but she wasn't, she is a PM birth.
She's a PM.
And her aunt is a PM, who's the other like really scientific minded person. And I'm just like, I bet there's stuff there.
Interesting. Yeah. So basically there's an entire thing that you can take into account when reading a chart that, you know, where it's important to figure out whether or not you are a day chart or a night chart. Obviously, you are a night chart when you were born at night, so after sundown.
Yeah.
And you are a day chart when you were born during the day. But so in traditional Hellenistic astrology, specifically, that matters. And I also take that into account to a certain degree, because in in traditional astrology, you have the malefics and the benefics, and the malefics are, Mars and Saturn. They are the, evil, like the bad planets. They have they bring chaos and destruction and death.
Sure.
And you have the benefics that are Venus and Jupiter, and they are the lucky ones. And depending on whether or not you are a night chart, they have different kinds of energy. So like when you are a night chart, the worst malefic, I think, is Saturn, and Mars becomes like less bad.
Okay.
And the other way around, when you are a night chart, when a day chart, when you're a day chart, like Mars becomes worse and Saturn is less bad. And like same with the benefics, and and then depending on where those are in your chart, you can read a shit ton from a chart just from that, right?
Well, this might not totally fit though, because I just realized that like some of the AM charts are like so early that it would still be nighttime or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's just something that I noticed. You just, when you're going through like that, you just start seeing like different trends and stuff.
Yeah.
So very looking forward to
we will do deep dives, probably several.
Yeah, we'll do several. And also after we finish this, I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've been like purposely not telling you stuff all week.
Again, you do that a lot now.
Yeah, it's really irritating. Like that's the main downside of this podcast is I'm like, oh, okay. Like everything else about it I really like, but now
the info dump has to wait. Oh no.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I hope this was interesting for like not me type people.
I think so. So obviously, hopefully, this showed people a little bit about like how do you put the pieces together in a chart, because you can find a lot of information about the singular things about a chart. Like you can find what the planets mean and what the signs mean and what aspects mean and blah blah blah, but putting it together is like the hard part, and a lot of people I know struggle with that. So hopefully this was helpful. Definitely never try to get all the information all at once would be a piece of advice I would give, because you can't. A chart is so complex. You can't.
I mean, you and I are going to do hours more of this like off camera. Yes. I mean, not right now.
And like the amount of times I have looked at your chart just in this podcast.
Oh yeah.
And there's still always more. There's always more to discover. I always discover new things that we haven't talked about before. And
sure.
So yeah. Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and comment.
And comment, rate, review.
Tell your friends. Shout it from the rooftops. Send smoke signals, whatever you want to do all the things.
Yeah.
And we will see you and hear you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.